Hello, welcome to Sun and Taurus season 2022. This video is for all the sun signs. I haven't done a video like this in a while. If you appreciate this kind of video, please, I accept donations. Of course, I'm very grateful for any kind of donations. In the description, there's plenty of different ways to offer that, and I sincerely appreciate it. If you just send me a couple bucks, I will continue to do these things. It helps me to keep going and continue to do my work. So I sincerely appreciate it. And as always, in the description also is the link for the readings that I offer. I'm always happy to do readings for people. So let's get started. Okay, Aries. I think that, first of all, a happy late birthday. And I think that for Aries, we're coming out of a time that was quite stressful in a lot of ways, very, very formative the last basically like 6 weeks, I would say. This Sun and Taurus season is much more chill for you. Mars is in Pisces the entirety of this next month, and this allows you to kind of coast, go with the flow. I think that's the best way to go with it. Go with the flow over the next 30 days, to be in touch with compassion, your compassion with other people's compassion. Ironically, the best way to get ahead is to make sure that you're chilling your ego out and not focusing too much on yourself during this time. That's not a dig. It's not a dig. It's a good thing to be self-focused. That's the whole point of Aries energy. I have a lot of Aries energy myself. We all got Aries energy somewhere in our charts. We need to come from a place of self, know who we are, push forward with our own goals, our own dreams, our own ideals. But this month is more chill. This month is, again, about making sure that the people around you are okay. In balance. Again, we always want to keep that balance. We don't want to be focusing too much on other people to the detriment of self. But in general, I think this month is going to be a pretty chill month where you're more reflecting rather than moving forward directly towards your goals. But the reason this is so important is because when Mars goes into Aries, Jupiter will also be in Aries. Mars will go into Aries in the next sun season, but Jupiter goes into Aries on May 10th. That is a huge boost moving forward. Mars going into Aries, I think it's like later on in May, it's shortly after in the next season, we'll talk about that. That's a huge boost. So keep that in mind moving forward, that this month, the next 30 days is more chill, but after that is like high octane rocket boost. So do be thinking about where you want to go next in your life. All right, Taurus, happy birthday, happy early birthday. This is an interesting Taurus season. At this point, you're probably well used to Sun and Uranus both being in Taurus, because Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018 even, but especially 2019 for y'all. Well, for all of us, but for you, it's been conjunct. I think that the major ability or the major opportunity for this is evolution, being able to grow very quickly. Sometimes it's a little uncomfortable, and I think that you are seeing the continuation of last year. It should be a lot easier and actually very formative in a lot of ways. We'll get to that, but I think we are seeing the same kind of pressure. You've been facing a lot of pressure last year, and also with this year with transiting Saturn in Aquarius squaring your Sun. So Mercury is also in Taurus for the first half of this month. The first half of like the next 30 days until April 29th, then it goes into Gemini. So Mercury being in Taurus helps you to consciously focus on your path, however it is that you need to grow, however it is that you need to evolve and update yourself, because that is what that pressure, as much as it can be uncomfortable, it is helping you to make sure that you're not getting stuck in a rut. It's making sure that you're moving forward, you're thinking of your future, you're thinking of how to grow as an individual. And still be yourself, of course. We're not trying to anyone be different than who we are. But we do need to answer that pressure. We do need to move forward. So it helps I think it's good to focus on that now over the next 2 weeks while Mercury is still in Taurus. And that will give you some really good ideas. It'll give you good information. Be open to the universe, receive whatever it is that you need as per information or conversations to help you move forward. And last thing is Venus goes into Aries, which is your ruling planet. Venus rules Taurus as well as Libra on May 2nd. So that will help your relationships to move forward in a lot of ways too. You'll get a huge boost of inspiration rather, of being able to go out, meet people, have fun with your loved ones, etc. And in the meantime, between here and May 2nd, it's more go with the flow when it comes to love. It's more sentimental, stuff like that. Gemini. So I am a Gemini. This is fun. In this 30-day cycle, we have Mercury going into Gemini on April 29th. This is interesting because on the one hand, it's like the first half of May, we're speeding forward. And this helps a lot because we've been getting a lot of evolution as per our mind, as per practical information, practical abilities and opportunities between here at the making of this video on April 19th and April 29th, because Mercury is in Taurus. Mercury is our ruling planet. It's been conjunct Uranus, so of evolution forward. But it's not really until it goes into Gemini where it's really moving forward. But then we have May 10th when Mercury goes retrograde. So we're still going to be moving forward, of course. Retrograde doesn't mean that we're not moving forward, but it's more a sense of having to be patient when May 10th comes around. And even when Mercury goes into Gemini on the 29th, we're still going to be in the pre-shadow period around that time period. So we want to keep these things in mind because there's a lot of energy that's moving forward over the next month. Venus goes into Aries on May 2nd. Jupiter goes into Aries on May 10th. Mars will go into Aries later on in May. But as Geminis, we really need to be cautious of not moving forward too quickly, not either speaking too quickly or making decisions too quickly. We want to really take our time here and keep the long-term picture in mind, because a lot of signs are saying go, and it is about moving forward. The lights are green, but we need to be mindful to not overthink during this time, to not be too scattered during this time, because that can definitely be a challenge for this Sun in Taurus season. And helping all this is the Sun in Taurus, is all of the Pisces energy that we're working with. So if we're reflecting now in the first half of this, like basically over the next 10 days, then that's going to help us a lot to make sure that we're set up for when all of the lights are truly green and there's no slippery, ground right in front of us that we have to kind of tiptoe on, which will come basically with the next sun, with our birthday season. Cancer. So this is interesting. The new moon in Taurus is on April 30th. So for the next 11 days, we're not quite in the new, it's interesting because Sun has gone into Taurus, so it's a new season. But for anybody with a lot of Cancer energy, I have Moon in Cancer rising around the cusp of Cancer. The cycles of the moon is really what's most important. And this influences everyone, of course, but Cancer energy individuals especially. And so you'll probably feel that with April 30th, that's when you're really moving forward. That's when things are really starting to begin for you, and you're noticing the major change with Taurus, or certainly new opportunities with Taurus, and they are substantial. I think April 30th is something to mark on your calendar, because that new moon is substantial for being able to grow in exponential ways, because Uranus is in Taurus as well as the Sun, as well as right now Mercury, and even with the new moon, Mercury will still be in Taurus. Oh no, actually it'll have just gone into Gemini. But honestly, that regardless, there's so much Taurus energy to work with the new moon in Taurus, and especially with Uranus. So long story short, I think really this month is really starting for you on April 30th in a lot of ways. And the key is there's going to be a lot of retrospective, a lot of introspection, looking back. Whenever Mercury goes retrograde, I kind of laugh, because as much as it can wreak havoc with other energies and other planets, it's always funny for those with a lot of Cancer energy. It's a great opportunity for us to reflect on the past. And so as much as our minds will kind of be super agile come basically with the new moon, when it goes retrograde on May 10th, I think that you'll be seeing a lot of connecting with old, this could be siblings. I think that's a major thing. Connecting with old friends that you haven't talked with in a while, old coworkers, just old communications that would be nice to visit with them. So that's something to look forward to later on in this Sun and Taurus season. But I think, again, the major thing is to just go with the flow when it comes to relationships. There's a lot of Pisces energy that's you're able to work with, to be able to understand where you are emotionally, to help other people out emotionally. And I think that's where you'll get a lot of inspiration during this time, a lot of your energy. And I think that one last thing is, make sure you're taking care of yourself too. It's very easy for you to only care for other people and lose out on self. And there's a huge focus on, for all of us, liberating self through new approaches, new ideas, experimentation, novelty, innovation, So take that opportunity and really go with that as well. Leo. This, you've been going through a lot of pressure this year and also last year, because Saturn has been in Aquarius. It's been really formative. It's been really good. There's no such thing as a bad transit, but this transit is rough. It's a lot of pressure, like I was saying. And there's been a lot of opportunities though too, because Jupiter's been in Aquarius this last year. And I think though we're in a kind of interesting spot, Leo energy. I have a lot of Leo energy myself. I have rising Venus, Mars, and Jupiter in Leo. But I think especially for Sun and Leos, there's a really interesting spot here, because it's like, okay, you're facing pressure to change and to grow and to learn about who you are as an individual. But there's also like sometimes that pressure is frustrating, and you just gotta be patient with it. You gotta breathe through it, take it one step at a time. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You gotta be patient with it, okay? The worst thing you could do is try and just blow up in anger, or just try and do something impulsively. I know it's a little bit more on the Aries challenge spectrum, but for all fire energy, we gotta be patient with this. And I'm living within myself with all my Leo energy. So that's really important to keep in mind, is just be patient. Keep working with it. And I know that this next month is really good for being able to have practical steps for things that have been difficult for you to make decisions on. There's a lot of Taurus energy to work with, which for you as a Leo helps you to make definite steps in that quest for dealing with that pressure in a really good way. It helps you to move forward. It helps you to make decisions, helps you to get things in order on a practical level. So it's good to not rush, as always, with life in general, but especially with this Taurus energy. Take your time, really feel it out, ask yourself how you feel, make sure that you're not just coming from a pressure-filled place. But this is a great time to move forward, and I think that's really important because Sun and Mercury and Uranus are all conjunct in Taurus, and Uranus is going to be, of course, in Taurus along with the Sun for the next 30 days. So this is a really great opportunity for you to evolve, to move forward, to get yourself out of any rut, to appreciate who you are to a whole nother level, to shine to a whole new level, and to really answer that pressure that's on you in a positive way, to be able to bring out the best in yourself. So be patient, work hard, stay focused on self. It's good to, of course, be there for other people. There's a lot of Pisces energy there. So if you get exhausted with your own journey, if you can help out loved ones, that's really beautiful. But just really stay focused on your own journey, and you're going to reap the rewards of it for years to come. Virgo. This is a pretty smooth Virgo season. Taurus season for Virgos in a lot of ways, just like it's smooth for the other Earth energy of Capricorn. I think the one thing though is there's a lot of Pisces energy, which is really great in a lot of ways, but it's opposite your Virgo energy. And if you have Venus or Mercury in Virgo or any other Virgo, all this Pisces is opposite there too. And it all kind of boils down to the same thing. Things are working out for you behind the scenes in your favor, so long as you are in tune with your subconscious. You are not just focusing on your mind, you're trusting your instincts, your subconscious, your intuition, your emotions. As long as you're doing that, then you got a really good balance. Of course, that doesn't mean we want to go too far to that direction. We want to stay in the nice middle path, as the Buddha would say, to make sure that we're balancing the logical and the practical with the emotional and the mystical and spiritual and whatnot as well. But that's really beautiful. If you balance your mind and your emotions during this time, you have so much to gain. You are going to be able to move forward so much. I think there's one thing though, Mercury, and this isn't bad, but Mercury goes into Gemini on April 29th. I'm a Gemini, so we're both ruled by Mercury as Geminis and Virgos. So Mercury going into Gemini on April 29th. Be wary of overthinking. This energy is a little bit challenging sometimes for Virgos, but it's also really lovely for Virgos because you get to be able to communicate more than ever, and to get information and to give information more than ever, and form really strong social bonds. It's a time really for you to shine in a lot of ways. It's very smooth for you. But May 10th, Mercury goes retrograde. So that's going to slow things down a bit. This honestly is a lot easier for you than it is for me as a Gemini and all other Geminis. Because with Virgos, y'all are able to slow down a lot more effectively and be more practical and grounded and make sure you're taking care of the basic necessities of life. Whereas Geminis, none of that is our strongest suit. So, but it's still good for you to keep in mind, because out of everybody, us Geminis and Virgos, really working with Mercury retrograde is probably one of the most important things that we experience all year, and that's something we experience 3 times a year for about a month and a half each time, not to mention the post shadow and pre-shadow periods, which probably off the top of my head is like another probably 3 months out of the year. You and I both were dancing with Mercury in a way, and it's not bad. It's actually really nice. I think when May 10th comes around, it'll be a good opportunity to go look at the past of, okay, past ideas, what's worn out, what needs new information, what needs updating, what do I need to talk about, what do I need to listen about, etc. So I think that's a really good idea, and just to check out past information in general. I'm not trying to do a plug, but you know, if you've checked out any of the videos I've done before, now's a really good time to check them out again. That could be really helpful, or anybody's information that could be really good. I think that's the. Oh, one last thing. If you stay focused on your growth and development, you will be able to overcome really serious hurdles over the next month and to move forward in very steady but very steady and practical, I should say, ways, and to be able to grow and evolve in ways that you never have before. The key though is it's tricky to let go of your ego because of all that Pisces energy, but also to feed your ego, because honestly, as you know, you're such a humble person. Maybe if you have Mercury Leo, maybe this is, you know, a little bit more the challenge is to let go of ego, but even then you also want to build your ego. I think this is more the message, the more the vibe. Build your ego over this next month. Dream more than ever. Seek to accomplish more than ever. Seek to be able to do things more than ever, and you'll have a great Sun and Taurus season. Libra. So Venus goes into Aries May 2nd. This is exciting. I think that a lot of Libras will feel a lot of pining. We're all kind of in some kind of mess. I was gonna say a method or time period of pining, but I think sometimes it can just be a mess too for when Venus and Jupiter and Neptune and Mars are all in Pisces. As much as there's such beautiful things for everybody, it's a lot of emotions and wistful and poetry and where is my love and you know, we're all experiencing it. And I think for you, especially as a Libra, this is all the more so because your ruling planet is in Pisces conjunct Neptune, and until May 2nd it'll continue to be there, and Jupiter's there. So this is all not bad, but it's just something that's really important to keep in mind. Just don't focus too much on imaginary love or wondering, will it happen, will it not happen? You know, it's all about just going with the flow until May 2nd, and then all of a sudden like a switch is turned on and the light is green and you're like, cool, I'm moving forward, I'm gonna meet people, I'm gonna see who else is out there. It's a new cycle when it comes to Venus, when it comes to love, when it comes to relationships, especially romantic relationships, but also all kinds of relationships. So May 2nd for all Libras is gonna be really lovely, of being able to chart out, okay, cool, it's the new year for me. Like, yeah, the new year started with the spring equinox on March 19th, March 20th, but really like when Venus goes into Aries is when it really starts for both Taurians as well as Librans. So that's something that's really good to look forward to. Some other stuff, honestly, that's the main thing. I think some other stuff that's really good to look for or to keep in mind is Mercury will be in retrograde May 10th. So as much as May 2nd comes around, I think that's really important. Be wary of exes. Don't reconnect with exes unless it's like really good. Okay, that's one of the big challenges here, for sure. Even think twice, even if you're just going in for like, oh, is this a one night stand, or like, oh, is this a temporary thing? Like, just keep that in mind. Just, it's not necessarily saying it's bad, and to each their own, but it can backfire in a lot of ways. So that's good to keep in mind. On April 29th, Mercury goes into Gemini. This is really nice. The communication will flow starting basically with the new moon in Taurus on the 30th, 29th, 30th, when Mercury's there, new moon's there. There's a lot of beautiful communication that will happen. And again, there'll be a lot of good communication really all month long. Mercury will be in Gemini all month long starting the 29th. So that's really good. Being able to connect with other people is going to be really easy for you. And I think the last thing, Jupiter goes into Aries May 10th. This is really exciting for everyone, but for you especially, there's a lot to offer here. Jupiter is offering you a lot of ways to grow. A lot of opportunities are going to be coming to you from other people. When Jupiter is opposite our sun energy, that's when other people are tending to fill in the gap of opportunities, whereas when it's conjunct our sun, it's more us opening opportunities. There's always a give and take either way, but with transiting Jupiter being in Aries May 10th for the vast majority of the upcoming year, there's a lot to offer here. So ask yourself, this is a really good thing. Who are the kind of people that I want to be around for me to be able to bring out the best in myself, for me to be able to grow, to be able to go on new adventures, and not just for the next year, although that's a big part of it, big focus, but for the next 12 years. How do I want to grow in the next 12 years? What do I want to learn? How do I want to connect with other people, etc.? That's a great thing to look forward to. Scorpios, you have had such an interesting year. So starting with your birthday and the whole Scorpio season of 2021, when really like your new year began in a lot of ways. Mars was in Scorpio. We were dealing with some retrogrades, some post-shadow retrograde period, etc. It's a very deep time, very passionate time. And we're now at the culmination period for you. Whenever Sun is in Taurus, it's like your full sun, it's like full moon, full sun opportunity. In a way, it's like the culmination of your personal year. So this doesn't mean that everything that you're seeking to accomplish from here until your next birthday is going to happen over this next month, but a lot can and a lot will if you really focus and dedicate yourself to evolving and moving forward more than ever, overcoming hurdles. I think the key word is evolution. Just keep growing, keep taking things to the next level. I know you're under a lot of pressure with Saturn being in Aquarius square your sun, but focus on answering that pressure in a really positive sense of, okay, how do I grow myself as an individual? How do I contribute more to society more than ever in a way that is still authentic and comes from deep within myself? And what hurdles I need to overcome over the next month as per my shyness, perhaps, my sensitivity. Not that either of these things are bad. They're not. It's water energy. I have a lot of water energy myself. I totally understand. But at certain points, we need to break through these barriers to make sure that we're still growing and doing our thing. So over this next month, you have a lot to work with, especially since Mars is in Pisces for all of Taurus season, to be able to give you the fuel needed to... There's a certain sense of give and take, a certain sense of go with the flow, but focus your will, focus on what you seek to accomplish, and you're going to make a lot of strides, even amidst all this pressure. In fact, because of that pressure for this season. Sagittarius, oh my god, in a lot of ways you have the most exciting Sun and Taurus season out of everybody, because your ruling planet, as well as the ruling planet of Pisces, Jupiter, is going into Aries on May 10th. This is very, very exciting. It is the beginning of a new 12-year cycle for Jupiter, and not only that, it's also in a fire energy, which is trine your sun, as well as any other Sagittarius energy, or Leo for that matter, energy that you might have. If you have any Aries, it's conjunct it. Mars goes into Aries, not in the next 30 days, but I think it's like in later May or so. So there is a huge burst of energy to move forward, but we're not quite there yet. And I think that in between here and May 10th, it's really important to introspect, to reflect, to make sure that you're really in tune with who you are as a person. Meditate. Take the time. It will serve you exponentially in life in general, of course, during any season, but especially between here and when Jupiter goes into Aries. Because when Jupiter goes into Aries, and then when Mars joins the party in later May, it's like high octane rocket fuel, and you want to make sure your rocket is pointed in the right direction, which, it can be difficult to figure that out. But if you're meditating, you're going to be deep in tune with the best part of your gifts in so many ways, which is your deep inner knowing, revelations coming to you, insights coming to you, being able to understand, because you're in connection with your spirituality, who you are, what your life is about, how you want to grow over the next 12 years with this Jupiter cycle, and how to get started over the course of the next 30 days, or at least to mentally prepare and emotionally prepare for when you're ready to make that leap. So over the next 30 days isn't necessarily the leap itself, but it is preparing, and I mean, May 10th is in the next 30 days, so we're right around the corner. So take the time, really spend that time. I know you have a natural sense of self and that serves you so beautifully, but really take the time to reflect, okay, and slow down and figure out, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, but what do I need to do? That's what I need to do. And when you slow down and still everything, that's when you'll be able to really connect with that, and you're going to be so well set up for the 12 years to come. One last thing is that there's a bunch of Taurus. Oh no, that's the most important thing. Mercury goes into Gemini April 29th. That is going to be especially tricky for slowing down, because that's going to be exciting you and giving you information. A lot of people are going to be coming to you, giving you information, great conversations, great connecting with siblings, with loved ones in general, friends. Then Mercury goes retrograde on May 10th. which is actually probably serving you really well. Oh, nice. I just realized the same day that Jupiter goes into Aries. That's serving you really well because it makes sure that you don't go too fast. With Mercury retrograde, that slows things down a bit, especially that being in Gemini. But that being said, it's not a guarantee that it will help you, like that you will use it to slow down. So you have to consciously choose to slow down in that way. So keep that in mind. You're getting a lot of excitement mid-May, but you also want to keep kind of building the rocket. The rocket will be mainly there in mid-May, and you're going to be making progress, but before it goes, like, jumps into hyperspace, you still want to make sure that with the rest of May, you're taking care of all the different parts of it so it doesn't blow up, and so it's good. And then you can enjoy your adventures for years to come. Capricorn. Honestly, this is a pretty smooth season for you. As always, there are challenges, of course, but I think that with all this earth energy to work with, you got Sun and Mercury and Uranus all in Taurus. That's helping you to, it's helping all of us, but I think especially for you, there's a lot of good opportunities here to overcome obstacles, to move forward. That's great. Saturn has now been in Aquarius, not only all of this year, but all of last year. So you're really in a sweet spot. Whereas 2020 and 2019 were particularly rough for you. I know it was rough for everybody with 2020, but for you especially, Saturn was in Capricorn. It was conjunct your sun. In a lot of ways, even more so with 2019, because it was the beginning of that transit. Everything gets easier as time goes on, as long as we're working with what we got and we're really developing and whatnot, which is second nature to you, if not first nature. I don't know how that saying goes, but anyways, that is natural for you. So keep developing, keep building. Just because the pressure isn't necessarily breathing down your neck, that does not mean, of course, that you should ignore the pressure. Saturn in Aquarius is still a great opportunity for you to continue to grow because of that pressure. And the pressure is really, how do I bring out the best of myself as an individual? How do I know myself? I'm not trying to plug here, but honestly, something that could be really helpful is astrology. Come get a reading if you've never gotten a reading, or if you want to check up reading, come get a reading. It's a really great time to check. Okay, not in a desperate spot now. I'm doing a lot better. I don't have so much pressure breathing down my neck. But what do I see for my future? For all of us, we're looking at Saturn and Aquarius and asking ourselves this, or we should be anyways. But Saturn in Aquarius, for you especially, is such a beautiful opportunity to look at the big vision. Okay, what do I want to accomplish over the next year, over the next 10 years, the next 30 years, over the course of the rest of my life? That is what that energy is really great for all of us. It's helping us to dream big, but in a logical, practical way. And again, for you, it's the beautiful next step on this journey that started when Saturn was in Capricorn. So the pressure is still there. It's not quite so heavy. Even if you have Mercury or Venus in Aquarius, honestly, unless you have a major thing like maybe rising or moon in Aquarius, this is a lot. I'm happy for you, because I remember for a couple of years it was just like, sorry Capricorn, Saturn's in Cap, this is a beautiful thing, you know it, I know it, it's so formative, but it still sucks in a lot of ways. It's a lot of pressure, but you're moving forward, and I think that's the best thing to keep in mind. So one last thing, Sun and Uranus are both in Taurus. Push yourself, feed your, this is tricky, I was gonna say, like, feed your ego. And I still stand by that. But obviously we don't want to go too far with that. But I think as a Capricorn, unless you have a lot of other fire energy and you're really out of balance, that's not really a challenge for you. Capricorns are usually super humble, very gracious, very loving people. The partner energy of Cancer, a lot of people don't understand that Capricorns are just as caring as Cancer individuals are. Beautifully there for their loved ones, stable, reliable. So in a lot of ways, feed your ego in the positive sense of dream big and keep pushing yourself, because over the next 30 days, you're going to be able to overcome obstacles powerfully with Uranus and Sun being in Taurus. You're going to be able to overcome things that you didn't know were there, or knew were there and didn't know how to deal with, and it'll change your life. I know a lot of astrologers tend to blow things out of proportion. It cracks me up and also is really annoying. But truly, when I say something, I mean it. And over the next 30 days, you are going to be able to overcome so much if you push yourself. Or you can just kind of go with the flow and, it can still be good, but you could really make the most of this if you push yourself. So yeah, if you want help in trying to figure out, okay, what's my long-term vision, or like needing some more insights or encouragement or support or whatever, come to me. I will tell you what I see. Always always nice, but I do say exactly what I see. So there's a lot of good perspective that I can offer for sure. Aquarius. So this is a really interesting time for you, because I have Sun in the house of Aquarius, so it functions basically the same as Aquarius. This is a really interesting time for us. First, Saturn is in Aquarius. It has been not only this year but also last year, as a lot of pressure. That's not a bad thing. You were born under pressure. Saturn rules Aquarius as well as Capricorn, and all in all, this is a wonderful time for you to be giving direct, practical, brick and mortar foundation to your ideas, your dreams, your long-term vision. You're getting a lot of excitement for your long-term vision of what you want to accomplish over the next year, the next 10 years, the next 30 years. But you're also being forced with that pressure to build right here, right now. And that's a good thing, because having so much Aquarius energy, we can sometimes get lost in the future a little bit too much. And we want to rein that in. And I think that's something that's really helpful, is over the next 30 days, with all of this Taurus energy, it's, even though it's a little uncomfortable in some ways, it is, because it's square all of the Aquarius energy. So it's like, oh, I have to focus on practical stuff right now. Oh, blah, 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 blah. But that's good, because that's how we actually make the meaningful changes that are the roots of the tree tops, the beautiful tree tops, and the views that they offer that we were imagining for our future. It has to start somewhere, and we have to give it a solid foundation. So the next 30 days is really great for being able to move forward practically. And again, it's interesting because with this, we have Uranus, one of the other rulers, along with Saturn, of Aquarius energy. So this is not going to necessarily be a boring 30 days. This is going to be a time period of building in really powerful ways. It's just, you just have to focus more on the practical than what you're used to, what you tend to prefer, unless you have Mercury and Capricorn. But even then, that Sun and Aquarius energy tends to want to focus more on ideas and ideals and talking and people, rather than what Capricorn likes to focus on, which is, the function, the system. How does it work? I want to see it, right? So that's really good to keep in mind. Mercury goes into Gemini April 29th. This helps communication so much. You're going to be able to communicate with siblings, loved ones in general. You'll get so much information from other people. You'll give information, but I think in a lot of ways you're going to receive so much information that's going to help you. Mercury goes retrograde May 10th. This isn't bad. If anything, it's nice to slow down a bit, and it's an opportunity to connect with old loved ones you haven't talked to in a while, old siblings that you maybe haven't reconnected with in a while. It's a good chance to be able to catch up with people, see how they're doing, where are they at, and again, have some good information. And I think something that's really cool with Mercury retrograde, especially with it being in Gemini, is it's a great opportunity for us to focus on things that we didn't fully flesh out. As air signs, I'm a Gemini in addition to having Sun in the house of Aquarius. As air signs, we tend to just keep moving forward, and to be fair, Gemini does that way more than Aquarius, but air energy still likes to move forward. So it's nice to be forced to look back, because that's where really, when we can dot the I's and cross the T's and all that, and really get an idea fleshed out, that's when we're at our best. Because air energies, we're the best at ideas, but ideas only exist wherever they exist unless we actually bring them into manifest reality. So if you're patient over the next 30 days, you're going to be able to move forward a lot. I think one last thing, Jupiter goes into Aries May 10th. That's very exciting, something to look forward to for all of us. Be thinking about how you want to grow over the next 12 years, because that is what that is beginning. So still be patient though. A lot of energy is moving forward with May 10th, but it doesn't mean that we want to go full forward. It's because that's not the vibe for the next 30 days. There's still a lot of sorting out to do, a lot of practical. We want to put those roots down, but we do have a lot of rocket energy of going in a brand new direction right around the corner. So be thinking about how you want to use that. And dear Pisces, this is such an interesting time for you. There's a lot to look forward to for Pisceans. There's always good stuff for everybody with every cycle, but this Sun in Taurus season sees Venus, Jupiter, Neptune, and Mars all in Pisces. I think especially with Venus, Jupiter, and Neptune, these are all beneficial Pisces placements. This is actually unreal that we're experiencing this. It's so cool. But like all energies, it has its challenges as well. So let's look at the overwhelming good, and then we'll look at the possible challenges, which if we're not tapping into the good, that can be difficult. The overwhelming good is compassion, healing, spiritual inspiration, and enlightenment for yourself, and for being able to connect with others with these things as well, especially flowing through you with all of your beautiful Pisces gifts. Mars in Pisces helps to give you energy to be able to focus all of this energy and to get stuff done. And I think that's really the big challenge here. And I think that Pisceans during this next 30 days are either going to be swimming up in a positive spiral or really swimming down in a negative spiral. And it really comes down to the same thing, is how are you answering Mars in Pisces' call? Are you doing actions that are productive, that are helping you move forward, or are you not? And it's no shame if you're not, but that means that you need to heal during this time actively, because it can take you really far down. And unfortunately, Pisceans who aren't in tune with their self-awareness during this time, and who probably aren't even watching this video and don't even know about these kind of ways to understand ourselves deeper and understand our subconscious deeper and to connect with our subconscious and heal and all these things. And I feel for them. I feel for them so deeply, because I have Moon in the house of Pisces, and I know what that's like to be so sensitive and to not know self on that level, and just to kind of be swimming and just confused like a fish in the ocean with currents flying every which way. It's like, I don't even fucking know where to go. It's sad, because those Pisceans who don't know these things will very likely, they can OD during this time. Addiction is a big thing for Pisces energy, and especially with these kind of energies, there can be a really, really, really powerful downward spiral. So we want to be fostering our self-awareness, our healing, our meditation. We want to make sure we're sleeping well enough. We want to be sure we're drinking plenty of water. I know that it might seem trivial, but these things really matter. They make all the difference, especially when it comes to meditation and sleep. Water too, though. Speaking of which, I need some more water. It helps us to calm ourselves. It helps us to flush ourselves out. It helps us to be able to move forward emotionally, which is what healing is all about. Even if we still have a scar from something, at least it's not an open wound emotionally. So during this time, the next 30 days, heal. And if you feel pretty good overall emotionally, then empower yourself to then take this energy and do really great things with it. But keep that in mind too, that healing is not just a mental and emotional and spiritual thing. There is a sense of doing things to be able to heal too. Certain actions and certain growth and opportunities allows us to heal in ways that just talking about it or reflecting about it doesn't. Now, of course, we need to talk about these things. We need to reflect on these things. And this next 30 days is really great for that as well. Mercury goes into Gemini on the 29th. That helps to open up a lot and to communicate. It goes retrograde on May 10th. So mid-May is a time period of really, really introspecting. But you want to set yourself up even before May 10th, because Jupiter goes into Aries on May 10th. And one last thing, again, Jupiter and Venus and Neptune all being in Pisces, Mars too. This is so great if you are in a good place, if you've done the work up until this point, and if you're continuing to do the work, or even if you're haven't been in a good place up until this point, but if you start doing the work now, you can take yourself to a really good place where your subconscious and your conscious meet. And you're able to overcome challenges and able to really understand, this is who I am. This is what my life's about. I need to stop doing this. I need to stop having a lack of boundaries with other people in certain ways. I need to stop pretending that I'm not hurting myself when I do this. I need to stop hiding from the world in this way, etc. Then if you're doing all that, you're able to move forward so wonderfully, and you're able to make your dreams become a reality in powerful ways over the next 30 days, in ways that set the roots, the foundation for you to continue to make your dreams a reality as time goes on, especially when when Jupiter goes into Aries May 10th, because Jupiter rules Pisces along with Sagittarius, and Neptune also rules Pisces. So when Jupiter goes into Aries, it's the beginning of a new 12-year cycle for all of us, of growth, of wisdom, of information, as per knowledge, as per insights, as per big picture understanding, inspiration, as per opportunities to grow and to move forward and to expand and to spiritually learn things. It's such an exciting time for all of us. For you, with it going into Aries, it is a really good opportunity to move forward and to be excited and to go on new adventures and to learn new things. But that's only if you've done the work up until May 10th to be in tune with your subconscious. Otherwise, the shadow side, because every energy has its shadow side, the unconscious shadow side of that energy can come out, which is just kind of wasting the energy on gratifying the ego and focusing on what you want but not what you need. So ask yourself this: what do I need versus what do I want? How do I want to grow over the next 12 years? And meditate on these things. And you're not thinking when when we meditate, we're not thinking. We're just allowing insights to come across our awareness, to swim across like a whale in the ocean, slow and smooth. And then, it comes and it goes, but we are left with that impression. And those insights, when they swim across our frame of awareness without us thinking about them, they really change our lives. They help us to understand so much more about ourselves. And of course, I'm happy to help with a reading if you're interested in doing a reading. So I hope you enjoy it. There's so much to look forward to just around the corner, but just make sure you're in a good spot. That's really important. There's no need to overthink it, but really feel deep and ask yourself, do I know what I'm about, what my life's about? And if not, okay, what do I need to face? What do I need to heal? What do I need to go into the sunken palace of my subconscious on the ocean floor of consciousness? And what do I need to air out and clean out? Because there's great treasures there available for me. But I'm not going to be able to access them unless I face the darkness, face those fears, face the unconsciousness. And at your own pace. Take your time with it. Healing is not an instant thing, but it's really important. It's a great opportunity at this time. It's such a pleasure to read for y'all. I hope that you enjoy this Sun in Taurus 2022 season. As always, I'm doing readings, info in the description. I appreciate any appreciation, any donations in the description. Have fun. There's so much opportunity to be able to move forward, to grow, to liberate ourselves in certain ways, to evolve, make things practical, to get new information, to connect with loved ones that we haven't connected with in a while, and to prepare ourselves to launch forward with Jupiter and Aries on May 10th. In a responsible way, taking our time, not rushing it even when it does come around, and just knowing that the next cycle, 30 days from now when Sun goes into Gemini, that's when things are really going to be cooking up. So use the next 30 days to prepare mentally and physically and practically and financially for the huge boost of inspiration that's coming right around the corner. Infinite love to you, my friends. Namaste. Peace.